not from Georgia, but you spent a lot of time there. You know that state better than TV or radio.
What do you know, guy?
It's going to be tight. We know that.
Hey, can I get a sticker?
Seeing some signs
Or you know what I mean.
Things are shifting a little bit in the direction of the Republicans. Some of these demographics that we can watch the turnout on a day-by-day level. And some of the
all right, you have a good one.
they need in order to win are beginning to come into line. So I'm a little more optimistic about the Republican chance. On the Democratic side, though, we've yet to see exactly the degree to which the combination, the way they count votes in Georgia, or don't count votes, combined with the rather brilliant efforts of Stacey Abrams, how much effect that's going to have. It clearly has effect. There's been a strong turnout early on in the early voting, the absentee voting among the African American community, and that's a lot of her work. But we'll have to see if the Republicans can catch up. It looks like they're beginning to do so.
All right, so my question is, Matt, there's 108,000 mail-in ballot requests from people that didn't vote on November 3rd. That concerns me, that number.
Yeah, and let me address something that's going around the media today, to your point, Sean. There's a discussion about how the Secretary of State of Georgia is now going to have a signature check of every county in Georgia. That's not really true. What it is, it's going to be a sample signature check done by the University of Georgia. I don't expect to see anything out of that would equal what would happen if we actually had a real live signature audit. So yeah, there's a lot of there are a lot of questions out there related to how these votes are counted, where they're coming from, these absentee ballots, whether there's going to be any integrity in them this time, because there were a lot of questions about the integrity the last time.
Your take, John McLaughlin, you're following it closely yourself.
That's true, because
there is a huge cry for help from this country to make an example, and there is a lot of people of faith that believe this is the time. There is a lot of people around the whole entire world that know of this, but then there's the other half that have no clue whatsoever because they've been programmed and desensitized by the brainwashing to not know any better. I mean, how do you you can't even show them the truth and they'll believe.
Well, see, that's what goes back, and it's like this 19 project. The woman that actually wrote it, this leftist propaganda that it was subjugation was the whole reason that the United States was born. And there's some schools that are trying to do that. And you see, here's what Hitler figured out, and Stalin figured out, and Mao figured out, was you get the children and you give them the propaganda. You know, after Mao Zedong, for those that went to Detroit public schools, was the Chinese communists that fought the capitalist leader Chiang Kai-shek, and that's how Formosa became Taiwan, is when Chiang and his people fled to Taiwan, what is now modern Taiwan, and Mao Zedong had the mainland China, and they had the Little Red Book. For those of you that have never heard this, I strongly encourage you, hey Rich, to use the search engine of your choice and look this up in Mao's Little Red Book, and you'll see how they indoctrinate. You know, I got a lot of conservative teachers that call into this show. I've never really had a liberal teacher call in, say I'm a liberal teacher, but hey, I encourage it, you know, call in. I love talking to liberals and debating them, and I think the audience gets a kick out of it with me too. But, you know, if you're a teacher and your kids know your politics, you're a horrible teacher. Be a conservative or liberal, you're there to teach. And I was taught, you know, about the Pilgrims coming here for religious freedom in the Jamestown colony, and they're teaching them they came here to make people slaves. And I pointed out, like I don't know if you heard me earlier in the show say, I'm of full-blooded Irish descent. You know who else was brought here as slaves by the English? Not just the African Americans, because they conquered and subjugated Ireland, most specifically the Catholic part of it, and brought them here as slaves too. So I don't know specifically if some of my people came over, but darn sure the Irish were brought here as slaves.
But there's really no way of changing the direction and the mindset of the other half, unfortunately. And that's where I think people are being...
See, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you on that, Natalie, and here's why. You got an African-American state representative from Georgia that is he's a Democrat that's become a diehard Trump supporter. You got Leo Terrell, he's another African American he said this was the first time he's voted for a Republican president. And once in a while you can see him, he does on the Fox Business and the Fox Network. But, people do change their minds. And you see, that's why I try to treat
I hope
people.
the truth will save lives. Communism has killed more people than world wars put together.
Yes, they have. Well, dear, I have to pay some bills on the station. Let me ask you real quick. Is this your first time calling?
No.
Okay. Well, then you're not eligible for that burger, but I wish you a very Merry Christmas.
I never got a burger.
You didn't get one either? All right, hold on. I'll put you on hold, and Jay will hook you up. Okay, as I mentioned, folks, Howard, you're going to be first up after the break, and I've got one line open right now at 433-0092 here at News Radio 1029. The Doc Washburn Show will continue with Steve Finnegan after these messages.
Planning for retirement has been turned on its head. Learn what you can do right now that could help you successfully retire today on The David Lucas Show this Saturday at 2 p.m. and Sunday at 11 a.m. right here on News Radio 1029 KARN.
And paid for by Progression. Are you being denied credit? Are you getting hit with high interest rates because of a low credit score? Bad credit happens to good people. In fact, millions of Americans are victims of incorrect or unfair items on their credit report without even knowing. But don't worry, because the Credit Repair Helpline is here for you. We'll communicate with creditors and the credit bureaus on your behalf to address unfairly reported items like late payments, collections, charge-offs, and even bankruptcies, which can lead to a higher credit score. Our proven process has helped hundreds of thousands of people just like you see meaningful improvements to their credit profile. Working to repair your credit today can help you get the new car, new home, or new job you've always wanted. Call 800-368-4857 now and get your free credit score. Call 800-368-4857 to start working to restore your credit. The call is free and the credit evaluation is free. So call 800-368-4857. That's 800-368-4857. Start building your credit today. 800-368-4857. Again, 800-368-4857.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider and are only available if the provider determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive Little Blue Pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to 4hims.com/private. That's right, free. Zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/private. That's 4hims.com/private for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/private.
Newsmax TV is exploding and everyone's talking about it. Now, a survey finds that 30 million Americans are watching Newsmax TV all the time. Millions are turning off Fox, and President Trump says he loves Newsmax. So watch it and make sure you vote in Newsmax's national poll asking about President Trump conceding the election. It takes a minute. Just text the word PRIME to 39747 and vote instantly. President Trump wants to know your opinion. So text PRIME to 39747 and vote instantly in Newsmax's poll. Plus, watch Newsmax TV with great shows including Dick Morris, Rudy Giuliani, Michelle Malkin, Diamond and Silk, Mike Huckabee, Greg Kelly, Sean Spicer, and more. Newsmax is on all major cable systems. Check your guide or tell your cable operator you want Newsmax like everyone else. Watch Newsmax TV today and vote in their big poll on Trump. Text PRIME to 39747 and let your voice be heard.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-613-7416. That's 800-613-7416. 800-613-7416. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
the first Noel. We're getting close to honoring our Savior Jesus' birth. 1 week from today is Christmas Day, but today is Friday, December 18th. This is the Doc Washburn Show. This is Steve Finnegan sitting in for the vacationing Doc Washburn. I will be back with you on Monday. Now, I might not make it quite at 2. I got one potential conflict that I was trying to do when Toby asked me to take the show. Now, I will definitely be here by 3. The show will be live from 3 to 6, but from 2 to 3, you might have a best of Doc playing until I can get in the studio. We'll just play that by ear, but I will be back with y'all on Monday. I'm already looking forward to it. But in the meantime, right now, got several callers lined up, so I want to take my next one. Let's go with Howard from Hot Springs Village. Howard, welcome to the Doc Washburn Show with Steve Finnegan. You're on the air. Are you there, Mr. Howard? Okay, looks like we lost Mr. Howard. If you want to call back. Yeah, I realized that. Sorry, guys. Once there's, I'll take a picture of this maybe, the phone system that Doc always talks about. But there's, about 20-something buttons, and I went to hang up on the wrong side. But anyway, this is great. I always love when I see this from Jay. Now, I told you the story. Before I bring Mike on the air, I'm going to just reiterate this again real quick. Last Friday, I was leaving the VA. It was raining like heck, and before I left under the canopy to go to the car, there was a fella in front of me, and he was getting his umbrella ready, and I just said hello. I'm usually a friendly person. You see me out in public, I'm always happy to say hello, and I just said hello, and that's all I said. And when I said that, he turned around and he looked at me and he said, "Are you Steve from the radio?" And I said, "Why, yes, I am." And he looked at me and said, "Hi, I'm Tim the Liberal from Little Rock. I love you and Doc." He said, "You guys are awesome." And I told him, I said, "I always love talking to you, Tim, because I can have a conversation with Tim. We might disagree sometimes on policies, but we're never disagreeable with each other." So lo and behold, I have a caller who identifies himself, Mike the Liberal from Yell County, but he's a freedom-loving liberal. So this is going to be a fun call, and I'm looking forward to it. So Mike the Liberal from Yell County, who's a freedom-loving liberal, welcome to the Doc Washburn Show. You're on the air.
Steve, thank you very much. You're not my favorite talk show host, but I like you. And I like Doc because I think one of the greatest things that he does is he tries to take so many callers and give all these little men, like a guy like me from out here in Yell County, Arkansas, they give us a big voice to speak. And I just want to say something about this liberal, this language. These people are not liberal. They are not liberal.
Okay, can I ask you a question, Mike?
Yes.
Why did you identify yourself as Mike the Liberal, if you don't like that?
Because I am a liberal.
Okay.
The blood of my forefathers flows through my veins, and what they stood for, I stand for.
Okay.
These people are communists, Steve, and when you boil away everything and what you have left in the pot of what a communist is, they are liars and murderers and thieves, and the way they get into the power that they get is they subvert everything. And the very first thing they start with is the subversion of pure language and the meaning of words. They have given themselves the title of liberal, and they are not liberal. They are murdering, lying, communist thieves. Everything.
Okay, now, Mike, are you sitting down right now?
Yes, but I'm...
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask you this because this is what I'm going to say. So far, I agree with everything you have said. How about that?
I know you do. I know you do.
See, I'm not such a bad guy after all.
No, you're not.
Okay.
You know, and I call myself a liberal because I am a true liberal. I want the American people, the average American, most of them are terrified about the kind of freedom that I want them to have. Because with true freedom comes a tremendous amount of responsibility.
Absolutely. We're in full agreement again. So far, so good, my friend.
Yes.
I even joked once that we should put up a statue of responsibility, and I originally said San Francisco Bay, but that's a mecca of communism now, to match the Statue of Liberty in New York and New Jersey harbor.
My forefathers were liberals, and they took a great responsibility just to trip over here at that time in a wooden boat, basically at the mercy of the elements. The bravery that took just to get here, and the things that they stood for, and the things that they believed in. You had a lady that just called earlier talking about how she came from a yellow dog Democrat family.
Yes.
The things that our forefathers took upon them to give us the freedom that we have. She mentioned Milton Friedman.
So that was a different caller that mentioned Milton Friedman. That was the next caller.
Okay, well, I believe it was, it might have been Reagan, but I'm not sure. It might have been Milton Friedman that said that Americans do not realize the freedom that their forefathers intended for them to have.
Okay, now I'm going to give you and some of the people who went to Detroit public schools and were indoctrinated instead of educated a little thing. You know what you are? You are not a liberal, sir. You want me to tell you what you are? If you really want to fall into the political definitions? You, sir, are what we call a classical liberal, and I would identify with that. In other words, you're for human freedom. It's like I said, I'm very much a conservative and a God-fearing Christian man with a libertarian bent. So you see, look at that. You and I can agree on things. And so far, I've agreed with everything you've said.
Yes, we are not in opposition.
Okay, well, I am glad that was... Is this your first time ever calling, Mike?
No, I've called Doc several times. I just hate people calling these murdering communist thieves liberals.
Well, I appreciate you clarifying that up for the audience. But as you're starting to hear that music come in, means we're coming up to break. I appreciate your call. God bless. Merry Christmas, Mike, from Yell County. This is Steve Finnegan sitting in for Doc Washburn today. Having a lot of fun taking your calls. And the Doc Washburn Show will continue after the news.
The Ben Shapiro Show is on News Radio 1029 KARN, weeknights at 9.
The liberals in this country, they're not going to make common cause with people on the center right. They're not going to make common cause with people who are in favor of free speech. They're very much in favor of the social media campaigns that turn every corporation, every press outlet into an instrument for their utopian goals.
It's the Ben Shapiro Show, exclusively on News Radio 1029 KARN and online at newsradio1029.com.
I'm Roger Stern. The federal government is still trying to get its hands around a large-scale computer attack on various departments and agencies, possibly by Russia.
We are working hard on this to mitigate any potential effects, to make sure that our country is secure going forward.
White House Deputy Press Secretary Brian Morgenstern on Fox's The Daily Briefing. The Department of Homeland Security says the hacking poses a grave risk. There's a big drug bust in North Carolina. The feds have arrested 21 current and former students who allegedly dealt drugs from frat houses at UNC Chapel Hill, Duke University, and Appalachian State.
Law enforcement say members of the fraternities allegedly trafficked more than $1.5 million worth of marijuana, cocaine, Xanax, LSD, and even steroids.
Fox News' Charles Watson. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm KARK's Mallory Brooks at the News Radio 1029 KARN News Desk. 3 people are charged with murder after a burned body was found in a car in Baxter County. Police